So, I mean, obsolescence. What is that? What is obsolete? And, mm, it might be, I think maybe I've sort of aged out. I've kind of aged out. And yeah, so my life don't matter no more. Well, it matters to me. So, yeah, I ain't fucking going anywhere. But yeah, here's what I want to talk about: obsolete so called leaders, Putin and Trump. All right. And yeah, maybe I should start using the name Trump instead of Chomp because maybe we have to really look at that. Maybe everyone else is, and maybe everyone understands completely what's going on. I mean, it gets so old. I mean, why, it gets real old. Who's got the bigger dick? Who's got the bigger gun? Who's got the bigger bank account? I mean, who's got the bigger house? Who's got the bigger ego? Who's raped more women? Who's fucked more, women? I mean, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know about Putin, and am I afraid of talking about Putin? No, I'm not. But, I had not the best feeling back in 2016. I thought, I probably need to be kind of careful. I'm not sure I should put anything out there. But Putin, I mean, what do I know about Putin? Well, wasn't he KGB, back in the day? And, I mean, responsible for deaths. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about him, but sometimes things get a little out of control. Maybe with political systems, with federal governments, yeah, so the Russian Federation and the United States, and what's going on? What's going on? I'm not sure that Trump is Putin's puppet. I don't know enough about him, really. I mean, looks like he can maintain his composure pretty well, and that is it's an important skill. All right, so maybe in some ways he's more ethical. I'm not sure I should say that. Moral, I'm not sure, what is that? I mean, Trump, a rapist, and we all know that, a serial rapist, and I don't know. I mean, when you think about the absurdity, I mean, in what ways was Trump installed? Because isn't that probably what happened? And, you know, institutions that were involved, individuals that were involved, I mean, think tanks. I mean, what's the story? What's the story? Because it's going to come to an end. His reign of terror. Do we want to call it that? Because I know people want to talk about kings and their kings. This sort of, the dictatorship, and it is. He's not a wannabe dictator. He's a dictator. He's a scummy, you know, a real scummy man that should not have crossed that line of stealing election results from 2020 in Fulton County, Georgia today. And that happened. FBI came, and at first they didn't have the warrant that they needed, and then they got it, their hard copy warrant. And yeah, so now what? Now what? Well, again, let's think about the Russian Federation and the United States. And what could anyone be trying to, I mean, I don't want to use the word accomplish, but what is going on? I mean, it ain't fun times. I will for sure say that. I mean, the level of threat I mean, the level of violence, and it's always been in this country. People don't always see it because they might not personally experience it. But, there are different things people have experienced, including being drafted and sent to war. All right, so, yeah, Donald Trump, he ain't real bright. Is it Donald John Trump or John Donald Trump? Donald Trump. He's not a real bright man. He was a businessman. And that book many years ago, did somebody else write that book for him? The one that was on the shelves of the bookstore, the independent bookstore where I worked, with his pretty boy face on the cover of it, the art of the deal. I doubt he wrote it, and people probably know that. But yeah, so scum, opportunistic, aggressive. I mean, at least one song even written having to do with his father, who also was this aggressive scum. All right, so again, Russian Federation and the United States. I never felt like the Soviet Union was a threat. I don't know, what is the Russian Federation? It's so strange to me because growing up, the globe was the Soviet Union. Now I look and it's like, God, and names change, and wow, this is getting real old. But I probably should have taught pre-K or kindergarten and just helped mediate with children when they were having disputes. And yeah, but that isn't really the kind of person, that's not the kind of woman that I am. How about that? So yeah, some of us know, living in fear is not good. It's not good for us, and it's not good for anyone else. So what we could imagine, while also paying enough attention, is just senescence. Just, it drops down, and, there it is. And again, Putin and Trump, and I mean, is it complicated? I mean, war, what is that? And is it complicated? I mean, people shouldn't be doing that. There are plenty of things that have not helped, that have contributed. I mean, I think about things people do for fun. I think about video games, and it's like, why do you want to do that? I don't know. Where does the mind go when a person is doing that? I mean, yeah, that seems to me like a little bit of some kind of military something. But anyway, yeah, so, what I remember, what I know is that in 2016, things got worse and worse. I was in Knox County, Sevier County. It was, I don't want to say it was terrifying. It was, like, concerning. You go in and big Trump signage and Hillary for prison, and it's like, wow. And of course, there was stuff in Knoxville, like seeing a 3%ers bumper sticker on a truck that was strangely at the co-op. I mean, sometimes people coexist, I guess. I mean, I've seen plenty in East Tennessee, and wow, there's some nasty history in Tennessee. So yeah, well, let's try to keep learning history. And what is a theory? The conspiracy theory, what is that? I don't know. I don't like misuse of the word theory. But, and what is the, when people sometimes have a hard time putting words to something doesn't feel right, and, I'm not sure what it is. And also, when people are prevented from, when people are silenced, and sometimes over generations, different things happen, different things happen. But anyhow, so yeah, Trump is coming down. He's going to bring himself down, really. I mean, that's what he's doing while he is killing people, while he is persecuting people, while he is threatening people. And that big, I bet it's an asshole full of hemorrhoids, and yeah, and that dick that's been in, so quite a few women as a raping dick. And this is one thing about Putin, and I don't know, but I kind of have a feeling he might not be quite like that, so when we're thinking about respectability, and yeah, I don't know quite enough. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot. But when we're talking about respectability, I kind of doubt that Putin has that lack of character, that lack of, there's some things that, wow. And is it a reflection of this country? I mean, we could talk about it being a reflection of, yeah, the history of this country, and, yeah, just a continuation of it. So anyhow, Russian Federation, United States, well, what happens next? What needs to happen? I'm not even going to say that. What has to happen? And I'm going to say what we have to know is going to happen is Trump, I don't know, maybe he'll climb up on a ladder, put something in the ceiling, put something around his neck and jump. You never know. One can only kind of hope. But, you know, nature, uh, and sometimes persons that are close to someone doing harm like that, you never know. So I guess we'll wait and see. And in the meantime, I guess I'm just so behind. I don't know, maybe people are aware of things that I'm not. I'm just kind of out in space, I suppose. But anyhow, yeah, just some words for this Wednesday evening after, yeah, Trump sent the FBI to steal election election records from 2020, and wow, yeah, well, that pretty much said it all.